Protected bike lanes are popping up across several northwest Arkansas cities, but some believe the installation is causing some confusion. KNWA's Kelly O'Neill's in Springdale to show us why BikeNWA says there's nothing to worry about.
I am all for the bike lane. It's just they need to be better executed.
Just before Christmas, the nonprofit organization BikeNWA completed the protected bike lanes in Fayetteville, Springdale, and Siloam Springs. It's a pilot project to provide more mobility options. Paxton Roberts, executive director for BikeNWA, says it's a way to test before you invest.
Before these projects, we collected speed and volume data on these roads to see how many cars were traveling on them a day and how fast they were going. Not surprisingly, there was a big speeding problem on all of these roads.
The project is funded by a grant from the Walton Family Foundation and will be in place for at least a year to have sufficient time to collect data and evaluate overall success. The bike lanes range from about 6 to 6.5 feet, and there's a 3-foot buffer between them and the travel lanes. That leaves the travel lanes about 10 feet wide, which BikeNWA says follows national standards and guidelines for these projects.
I think that they need to look at putting them on the wider side streets.
One woman from Springdale says she's concerned about certain streets like Maple and Pleasant where traffic is already heavy.
I think that they should just probably look into putting them on a less busier street and having them in at the trail.
But Roberts says the materials used were chosen specifically to be no taller than a speed bump, and the curb stops encourage people to slow down.
If an emergency vehicle does come up behind them, they're supposed to do what they would do on any other street. They should pull over as close as they can to the curb, and so they can either try to shoot for the gap in between the curb stops, or they can drive one over them, right over them in a small car.
The pilot project will continue to be monitored and analyzed until December 2019.
We are listening to the public. We're receiving the feedback. The cities are as well.
In Northwest Arkansas, Kelly O'Neill, KNWA, Northwest Arkansas News.
Kelly, thank you. The city of Fayetteville recently released speed and volume data that shows drivers did slow down on these roads, but only by a small percentage. Paxton Roberts with BikeNWA says the data is misleading because tubes broke at one location, and it's also difficult to compare projects that are completely different from one another. He has requested that the city of Fayetteville collect the data again. Roberts does point to one bike lane location. However, he says the Rolling Hills Sherrill streets show that the percentage of drivers that drove at or below the speed limit increased from 23% to 52% of all drivers.